Welcome to Jeff, Still Figuring It Out. And I'm Jeff, and this is my podcast. And this is simply a place where I think out loud about life, work, identity, responsibility, and the things we don't always slow down long enough to examine. No experts here. Just curiosity, reflection, and the recognition that most of us are still figuring it out as we go. Have you ever had one of those days where you were busy the entire day? And I'm talking about in the context of working. You know, you had a pretty full day of meetings, emails, updates, conversations. And at the end of it, you couldn't actually point to anything that moved forward. I've been thinking about that lately because I don't think it's accidental. I think something subtle has shifted in how we work. A lot of modern work isn't just about doing the job, it's about being seen doing the job well. Meetings to show alignment, updates to show progress, dashboards to show control. I was in a meeting the other day that was to prepare for another meeting. And at some point, I had this moment of clarity like, are we working right now? Or are we just coordinating the appearance of work? And none of those things are bad. But at some point, they start to replace the actual work. We've gotten very good at showing work, not always at doing meaningful work. And when work becomes performance, activity becomes the signal. Full calendars, more reporting, more process. You ever look at your calendar and it's completely full and you think, this is going to be a productive day? And, you get to the end of it and realize you basically attended your own life. I've definitely sent updates before that sound very official, very structured, very updatey. And if you really read them, they're basically saying, things are happening, we will continue to monitor, but movement isn't the same as progress. I don't think this is because people are doing anything wrong. I think it's because people adapt. We learn pretty quickly what gets rewarded, what gets noticed, what keeps things smooth. And most of the time, that's visibility, not necessarily value. There's also this thing where we're being busy. It kind of becomes your identity. I've kind of talked about it a little bit before. If someone asks you how you're doing, you almost feel weird not saying busy. Yeah, real busy. Like anything less than that sounds like you're doing something wrong. But there's a trade-off that doesn't get talked about. The more time we spend showing the work, the less time we actually have to do the work. You ever get those messages, hey, just checking in on this? And you're like, I was actually going to make progress on it, but now I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes explaining the progress I haven't made yet. Or dashboards. We love dashboards. Colors, charts, arrows going up. It feels like control, but sometimes I look at them and think, this is a really well organized version of uncertainty. Everything looks clean, but underneath, it's not as clear as we think. So there's something I'm trying. Because I don't think this gets fixed with a big system change. I think it starts smaller than that. And this is what I've been trying. It's not dramatic, but at the start of the day, I ask one question. What would actually move something forward today? Not what looks good, not what checks a box, but what would actually change something? And then I try. I try to protect time for just that, even if it's one thing. The hard part is that kind of work is usually quieter. It's less visible. It's less rewarded in the moment. You don't get credit for it right away. It doesn't show up in a dashboard. But over time, that's the stuff. That's the stuff that actually moves things. I definitely don't have a perfect answer for this, but I do think there's a difference. A difference between a day that looks productive and a day that actually is. And I've had plenty of both. Lately, I'm just trying to notice the difference and maybe choose the second one a little bit more often. Anyway, that's just something I've been thinking about. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. This is Jeff, still figuring it out. I'm Jeff, and like most of us, I'm still trying to figure it out as I go. We'll talk more soon.